Hey, what's up guys? Psynaps here. In this video, I invited a panel of streamers, both partnered and non-partnered. This is one talk show video in a multi-video series to address the most important questions asked by streamers. If you find these videos useful, please subscribe to the channel, please like, and let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure you check the description for more links and tips for streamers. In this video, we're going to talk about how to grow your stream and some other things that are important for streamers to know going forward. Was talking shit on his Twitter about new streamers. And I basically, this argument, I saw a huge disconnect between the guys that are at the top, kind of spitting on the guys that are down in the bottom that just can't grow. And one of the things they were talking about was on his Twitter, quote unquote, as close as I can get to it. He says, a new streamer should never have a donation button on their stream. And that's what he said. And the point was, and he followed up and said, you know, if you want to stream, you should be streaming because you love gaming and you love streaming. You should never have a donation button. And I was thinking, coming from a guy who probably makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on donations, telling other people they should not have a donation button kind of made me sick a little bit. It kind of made me want to puke coming from him. Okay. Now I could see like another streamer, like a new streamer getting mad at other streamers for having a donation button, like, oh, you know, you're trying to make money or something. I mean, you know, I could see it coming from a little guy, but coming from the big guy, I was like, I found it wildly inappropriate. And it might just be that the smaller streamers are just trying to be like the bigger streamers. They aspire to the big streamers. Everybody has a donation button. Why wouldn't you have one as well? I think it's fine. And a lot of people in the comments said, I didn't have a donation button. My viewers actually asked me to put one there, and I did it by request. So there's a big disconnect, I think, between the big guys and the little guys. And go for it.
If I may, you guys are more than welcome to disagree with me. I know my opinions, especially on this particular topic, are a little polarizing. So by all means, feel free to disagree with me. But I will say this:
I have some opinions too.
As somebody who joined YouTube very early and had a very successful career in YouTube as an early adopter, I'll say that anytime there's a new medium of business in online content production, Twitch or YouNow or whatever, Justin TV, Twitch, anything, anytime you're a new adopter, you're going to be kind of risen to the top very quickly. So those new adopters kind of got like an easy in compared to what a lot of the guys are going with now with the larger population and competition. And so to say, like you were saying, like he probably makes $100,000 a year plus, mostly through donations, to tell somebody else, oh, you should not have a donation button, is kind of ridiculous, except for the one concept in this new marketing that Twitch is trying to go over, where they're not really donations, they're tips. You should definitely be calling your donations tips now. That's just like standard for the industry. It's a new standard, and they're all employing it across every single online content medium. They're not donations, and that's because technically in taxes they never fall in the donation category. That's just
that's true.
That's just
for tax purposes.
Yeah,
it's not really.
They're all
not really a donation.
You're basically a waiter, and they're basically tipping you. So 100% they need to be tips. But should they have a tip button? Yeah, absolutely, they should have a tip button. If it's your first day streaming or your last day streaming, you should have a tip button, and not be because you're doing this for money, but because you're doing it. And if somebody supports you in what you're doing, you can do it better with more monetization. That's the only reason you have a tip button.
Right.
Not because you're saying, I'm good, I need $100 to show my tits or flex my abs. It's because with $100, I can increase my quality of my stream by 100x dollars. So that's why you have to have a tip button.
Absolutely. And sometimes the viewers, they want, they want to send a tip. Sometimes and this doesn't apply to everybody, but I am being completely honest with you. Sometimes it is for the viewers. The viewers it makes them feel good to support a streamer. A lot of us spend a lot of money on entertainment, whether it's basketball games, it's cable TV or whatever. A lot of people want to support the streamers coming up or the big streamers, whoever, and it's really up to the people. I leave that up to the viewers if they want to do the support or if they want the sub button.
You mean there's morals involved with tipping too? You know, I mean, I like the reason why I tipped to Psynaps was because I just liked his stream, and I saw that he was doing the super streamer thing.
Oh yeah!
And I was like, this is awesome. I want to support it, you know. And that's why I tipped. It was just like a natural thing to
Right.
tip for. And
You were trying to get me drunk, don't lie.
It's funny too because people are
I was trying to
people are
get some
totally
cheers.
cool with like throwing $1 into like a troubadour's hat, but like somebody says, "Oh, I'm gonna give this guy $4 to because I watched 6 hours of his stream," and like they're like, "What? You spent $4? Like you sell out?" It's like, what's like, hello? You play homeless people
know a
more
lot
than
of
that. Like,
what I want to know is what would be an interesting. I know I'll never know the statistic for sure, but I would like to know if do people make a majority of their money on Twitch through subbing or through donations? I mean, I think a lot of
donations,
people make
100%.
a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all about it's like showing love, like sending a donation. Yeah, it's money, but there's a message involved in that. It's here's my hard-earned money that I maybe went to work to get, and I'm going to give you some of it because I love your stream.
Then this goes back to the question, which how many alerts should we have? Should we have follower alerts? Should we have sound notifications? Should we have graphical notifications? Should we have different screens? Like I know when Psynaps gets a new sub, it pops into a new screen. I love that in Synaps's stream. I very much hate that in other people's streams where they start listing how much people have donated every time someone donates just to get more attention. It's like
It's hard.
Well, I mean, I think you can do it tastefully, or maybe it's not as tasteful sometimes. I mean, I try my best, and it depends on the stream. I mean, Oaf just sent a donation. Speaking of donations,
Streaming alerts,
Thanks,
though, in my
Oaf.
opinion,
Oof.
they can't get overboard.
here's
but
my
I-
student loan payment. Synapse Technical Institute.
Well, can I?
You can come in the
do
conversation
my
with
thing
you.
now?
Yeah, go
please.
for it.
Yeah,
Go for it.
man.
This is way back in our conversation, but on the guys who start streaming to make money, you can really feel it on the content they are producing and stuff. It's they start to get into it just to make money, and I think that's and on the ethical thing. I personally, with my viewers, I do a lot of rating. I try to help them improve their skills in rating and teach them how
nice.
you
That's cool.
get into a hardcore rating and into better rating guilds.
This is great. What we see here is different people having some, ethical standards in the way that they practice in their stream when that comes to donations and it comes to alerts. And that's really good. I mean, me personally, I don't think there should be a set ethics, but we all know what happens when the ethics go down the toilet. And we see a lot of streams out there that don't have very strong ethical practices and are kind of pushing the limits of what should be allowed on Twitch and what shouldn't be allowed. Keep in mind, guys, just after hearing this conversation, take a look and think about some of the streamers out there that are doing a little favor, paying back the community in a little way. Like you mentioned, doing the runs. I also have many friends that run people through their high level, and what they do with all of their achievements is they actually use their experience and stuff to help other people out that are not quite at that level and help pull people up to their level. That's a really great attitude to have. Not everybody has that. We don't see that all the time, but I can promise you that it feels really, really good whenever you're in a position where you're a little bit better and you pull people up to your level. And because everybody's trying to reach a high level, no matter what you're good at. Everybody's good at something. Focus on the skills that your favorite streamer has. What are they good at? Everybody's an expert at something.
So here's a good question from Glinks, if I can interrupt you real quick.
Go for it.
He says, "Hey Synapse, is there a way to keybind switching scenes? How do you set up different cams and scenes?
Oh yeah.
Small cam to full web screen." And I also add on to his question, is there a big difference between doing this in OBS and OBS Studio?
Sure. The first part, there are keybinds in both OBS and OBS Studio. And you can also use third-party scripting. Like, what was the one that I was using? I think we talked about it. There you go. Yeah, research auto hotkey. I actually rigged up my OBS with auto hotkey, like all kinds of different ways, and it works really, really well. Most people use auto hotkey for cheating in games or other weird stuff, but it turns out it's great just for pressing a button and changing a scene on your OBS. Now, you can combine that with the built-in keybinds that are in OBS Studio. OBS Studio gives you even more flexibility, not just to change the scenes, but to change sources within the scenes using keybinds. I managed to break my OBS Studio one time doing that. I made it overkill, with Snoop Dogg and brushing the hair and Shia LaBeouf and stuff. All of that.
Those are so good.
Those were good, but I added so many. I actually broke the entire thing. And so I had to start from scratch, and we're still just barely getting back up to speed. But between the two, OBS and OBS Studio, OBS Studio seems to be superior at encoding. That means better CPU utilization using a lower CPU, so you have more CPU for your games and higher FPS.
What's that OBS Studio?
And OBS Studio is cross-platform as well, works on Mac, Linux, and PC. So if you haven't tried it yet, give it a try on your spare time and see how it fits into your stream system. OBS, on the other hand, supports video playlists, something that OBS Studio does not support. They're still kind of fixing the little bugs. It's a complete rewrite of OBS. I use both of them, and I like them both.
Yeah, going along with that answer, I don't have a lot of OBS Studio experience. I've only tried it a couple times, and it's always been very last minute. So I haven't had the time to experience it and learn it properly before I use it. So it's been a bad experience. But in terms of OBS old school, 64 and 32-bit, there is absolutely a plugin you can download to scene switch, and you can hotkey that plugin. I don't know the name at my time. I think somebody else mentioned it, and it's on the OBS website, so you can just go search it pretty easily. But on top of that, one thing I've seen from one of my clients when I do a workflow analysis is kind of seamless integration of your scene switching, right? So if you guys have ever seen like Anthony Kong Fam, for example, he's got this great dual computer stream setup, but he's got the second computer just live on his stream, and he's got a second keyboard, second mouse, and he like has to lean over and like push buttons to make scene switches.
Oh, yeah.
Same with Tim the Tap Man. There's a lot of times where if you're a really experienced streamer, you can watch Tim the Tap Man and you can see him like spamming keys to do scene switches and stuff, and it kind of throws off the effect that he's trying to do. So one thing I set a client up for, and they actually were just hosted on Streamer News the other day, is we got him a foot pedal from like a video game, or I think it was actually just a USB interface, and we hotkeyed the 4 buttons on the foot pedal, so he can be mid game, and if he hears the alert sound, he doesn't have to look over, he doesn't have to do anything, he just hears a certain sound, and he knows to do foot pedal up or foot pedal down for whatever. So that's a great solution.
G12 for that.
A G12? What is that? Is that like a Razer thing?
I'm showing it on the screen. It's a Logitech G12, and it's a keypad. It's kind of like the Razer has one, X50. Like one for
the pinky thing.
I use this for I use it for scene transitions. You can keybind these if you want.
Yeah, that's a great solution too. And what we did is because the other thing was he had a KVM set up like me, so he obviously couldn't switch his keyboard and his mouse mid game if he was like in an FPS. So we hooked up the foot switch to his second stream PC, so he could always be in control without being obvious in his switches, and it's seamless. And I think those kind of things where you can not only make your audience change in their scenery or change in their experience, but to do so seamlessly, that's kind of the magic of theater, right? That's ultimately what we're always going for.
You know, how do people actually grow their followings on Twitch, and how do people actually grow their stream and get bigger? And you know, one thing that I've found after speaking with a lot of like really big streamers in like the PowerSpec network and whatnot, and just people who have like an established audience, one of the common trends that I really found is, number one, consistency. Like, you have to be consistent. You have to be continually putting out content on a set schedule. You know, it's important that you go live at a certain time. It's important that you stream for a certain amount of times a week, because you want your audience to know, you know, when you're going to be live and when you're going to be there. And I'd say the other thing, going back to Giga's point here, is really have something that's unique to you. Like, what do you do on your stream which is something that nobody else does? For example, like Psynaps, he's a video editor, right? And nobody and he edits like for video games like World of Warcraft, and it's really cool, and people love it. You look at other people; they're like professionals in World of Warcraft, and people come to watch them because they're really good. But really, everybody has something that distinguishes them from the next person and makes them stand out on Twitch. And when you have that something that makes you unique, when you do something crazy, for example, do you guys remember the guy who got to level 100 by dancing?
Rudism? Yeah, I love him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't that awesome?
He's an amazing human being, yeah.
He got so many views off of that, and he got so much.
He got a lot of Reddit support off that. A huge amount of Reddit support.
It was crazy, and it's because he did something unique. So, you know,
I know Synaps's ears is perked up because Synapse is like Reddit support. I've never seen that before.
No, I did. I got some great. My last post on OBS Studio, I got like 120 plus upvotes on the last post, and I was like, Reddit. It's like, yeah, Reddit is
I
so
know they're
hit or
giving
miss
you
for
shit
me.
for like clicking one time or something.
Yeah, I got banned. I got shadow banned permanently on Reddit one time after going crazy on some nerds.
I like it. I like it.
And I begged for my account back, and they gave it back to me.
But I mean, if you guys had to go around and give like
I'll give you
one
Let's
piece of
Play Us.
advice for how to grow your stream, what would it be?
Interact with your viewers.
Oh,
Inside the
good one.
game.
Consistency.
Oh man.
Be there for them, when they want to come and watch you.
I think be yourself. I know that's very cliche, but it's also, I think, in my opinion, the number one thing, because people are very sensitive to bullshit. People's bullshit meters on the internet are very, very good,
Especially on Twitch.
And so on Twitch, you guys are very, when you stream, you really put yourself out there, and people can sense when, they get to know you. Basically, they get to know your personality, and you can't bullshit. You got to be yourself, and that's got to work. That's got to be what works for you. Even Soda Poppin says, don't try to be me. Don't try to be PewDiePie. Don't try to be anybody else. It's not going to work. You got to be you, and you've got to make you special.
Yeah. I'll say the three
definitely.
things I notice most are webcam one, like that's an auto turn off right away, especially in the market we have now. Like if you're not fully engaged with your audience, that means audio and visual, you're not going to be in the top tier, at least quickly. Also, quick reactions to your audience. So like when they type in chat, don't wait 20 minutes to get back to them. They're probably not going to be there when you talk back, especially when you're first starting. Like have that chat nice and big, the font real big. Make sure you have BTTV. Make sure if they do an @gigasnail that it turns red, so you can notice it very quickly and respond to them as soon as possible. And then finally, kind of like what you're all saying and what Psynaps is saying and what AJ is saying, and that's be authentic, be yourself, and be sincere. Don't try to be somebody else or mimic something else just because it's worked for someone else. It's only going to work for you being you.
You can fake it on YouTube. Yep. You can't fake it on Twitch, though.
Yeah,
you
exactly. You can edit around it.
2 hours.
Good point.
That's the thing.
Get comfortable too. Like, don't
interesting.
If you're not liking something, if you're not liking the group you're with, and like this happens to me a lot. I know personally, it's like I'll be playing some RPGs with some guys that I might be winning, but they're just real assholes, and so I'm becoming more of an asshole just playing with them. I'm being more aggressive and more defensive being around people.
I've seen
like
Giga
that.
in RBGs. It's hilarious. He goes into RBG mode. It's
Giga Rage is real, dude. So just keep that in mind that your state of mind is as important to your viewers as like a parent's would be to a child, right? Like if they're having a bad day and they want to come view you and you're having a bad day, that's not making their day any better. But if you can put on a good front, put on the music that puts you in a happy mood, maybe you have a beer or maybe you have milk, whatever, gets you in the mood to game. You're comfortable, you're in the right clothes.
Yeah. And Giga, going off of that, I just want to tell a quick story here of why it's so important to be authentic, especially on Twitch. So what happened was, for the longest time, for a few months, I'm trying to put on this face, I'm trying to put on this personality on Twitch, and I'm not really being authentic. I'm not being myself when I go out to cast these games. I try and put on like a huge show, and people hated it. People literally hated it. You were there, Giga. Psynaps, you were there. You saw how hard people came down on me. They hated me.
Yeah.
For the longest
I liked it. I thought it was great, but people are always critical,
Yeah, and what happened was, after a while of this, I was like, okay, something's got to change here. People really freaking hate my commentating. And what happened was, I decided one day for an ESL tournament, you know what, screw it, I'm going to be myself. I'm just going to have fun doing this. I go out there and, I'm like, I'm not going to try and be professional about it. I'm not going to try and do something crazy. I'm just going to have fun with it. I'm going to be myself and do what I like. I go out there. I start making like a Pharaoh Druid pops his burst trinket. I'm like, here comes the Pharaoh burst damage. Meow, 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 meow. And and people died
I know those feels.
laughing.
And I think you're having a better time too when you're being yourself and you're going with the flow the way you know how. Look, you've been yourself for so many years. All right. If you all of a sudden try to be somebody else, you're probably not going to be great at it. You're going to be great at being yourself. And one thing that you have to accept, one thing that we all have to accept, is that people are going to like you and some people are not going to like you. But you can't beat yourself up if somebody says, hey, you're a complete douchebag. Yep. You're ugly. You're fat. Yeah. You suck at games. I could just go on and on. Some people have some pretty creative ones.
This goes back to the topic
of
the meta too a little bit. So talking about setting yourself up for positivity, right, versus negativity.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about best stream settings for non-partner versus partnered streamers. So one
Ooh,
thing you
good.
guys can do as a partnered or non-partnered streamer is think about all the situations you find yourself in for your stream. Like one thing I do a lot is, I have cheers like Psynaps, so I get a little, I need a bio break every once in a while. About every hour, I really have to go piss. So one thing I've done is I've set up multiple bio breaks on my stream, scenes I can switch to in a quick second.
Ooh, nice.
A little pinch where I can put on a funny GIF or leave the chat on, and I'll know my stream is still actively engaged while I'm taking that 2-minute break for myself to go relieve myself. So that's a really good tip I would give to most beginning streamers is think about all the situations you'll find yourself in a 3 or 4 hour gaming session that you're not normally aware of when you're not on camera, when all of a sudden you have to be very aware of when you're on camera.
Yeah. And a good tip for new streamers also. When you start streaming and the very first time you start your streaming, there's Shia LaBeouf on the Psynaps.
Subscribe to it now.
Just do it.
The first, when you start streaming and you find yourself playing and, oh shit, there's nobody here. And you end up sitting quietly and playing a game and with the weirdest stone face on. Talk to your camera and really communicate with the people that aren't there in your Twitch chat yet, because once they'll get into your Twitch chat and they will see you sit there silent, not saying anything.
Oh yeah.
Plain boring.
So
and when you realize the little 1 or 2 in the corner, that little number besides the red person, and you see, there's somebody here, and you start talking. When you start talking, they're already gone.
Yeah.
Right. So I do want to say something while you guys are talking. I'm going to draw a picture on the screen because what I noticed looking at statistics is there's a really interesting behavior, and this might help you to get viewers and stuff. But, there's, and I'll try to use colors the best I can. But what'll happen is as your stream kind of picks up, let's say this is the number of viewers. Here on the y-axis will be, the number of people that come in your chat. It'll be this here, the number of viewers, right? What you'll do is you'll have your core viewers, and maybe the core viewers will be all of those are your friends. If you're a small streamer, maybe it's just a handful of people. If you're a large streamer, well, your core grows and grows as you grow. And then you have basically these guys are logged in, they're ready to go. Then, you have a smaller proportion of people, and this amount of people is just the difference between the yellow line and the green line, just a very small percentage of people that always coming in and out of the stream. And when you look at your stats, you can see this graph. And these guys, these are like not just people that come in for 5 seconds and they leave. You guys have done that, right? You're just going through streams fast. What's this guy doing? Channel surfing, like you're on TV, kind of going through fast. Like you might not be able to keep these people. But if you can, there's a ton of them. I have a shit ton of people. I have hundreds of thousands of people in my Deepbot that are collecting points right now. Some of them are my core, and some of them just came through and they watched for a little while, collected some points, went in the database, and they may never ever come back again. Who knows? These, I call this like the revolving door. Like there's always people leaving and there's always people coming in, and it's just this very small amount. And what you got to do is you got to try to convert this small amount to turn them into your core. So just like you mentioned, if you don't have very many people watching, always be interactive, always be talking, because these people are coming in. Who knows how many hundreds of people we might have had come through this stream tonight, and they saw me, my ugly face, and they're like, "Oh, who the fuck is this guy? I'm out of here. This is bullshit." And could have.
What is that Giga Sales voice? I fucking hate that kid. No, thank you.
They left because Giga wasn't talking.
That if you have something that makes you entertaining or something unique, people are going to stop and they're going to check out your content.
Nice.
It pays just to interact with your chat 24/7. Interacting with the people.
That's my favorite thing about Twitch. I mean, like, if I wanted to just like make content and just throw it out onto the internet and forget it, I would go to YouTube. Yeah. Like that's the beautiful thing about Twitch is that we get real-time interaction. I come back because of the chat, bottom line.
Here we go. Hottie Tom brings up a good point. No. I refuse to talk to myself for maybe 30 minutes at a time just because no one has dropped by my stream just to sit there and talk to yourself for 6 hours and still no one shows up. So this isn't quite hardware configuration, but maybe more of a social engineering. Hottie Tom, this is one thing that I did when I first started, when I had 7 viewers at a time or 5 viewers at a time. Because you start up the stream and it's like just you, right? It's like, oh, what do you do? Well, one good thing that I would tell any beginning streamer is to pick a game that's not a solo game. Don't go run through Legends of Zelda on your own when you have absolutely no viewers, because you're very unlikely to get a new viewer as a response to that. What you could do instead is go play a team game, and more specifically, join the team chat.
But one thing you can do is, I like this advice. That was a great idea. Join team games. So you are interacting, you are talking because you're a part of a group and you're not talking to yourself. You're actually just doing your thing, and it's coming across as, people get to see you and your reactions and your words and your all of that. But another thing you can do is, if you are recording content, you can record content for YouTube. And in the case of YouTube, you are talking to yourself in a way, but you're recording because you're going to upload it and you're going to be addressing the internet. So I know Hottie Tom is a YouTuber. His YouTube has lots and lots of videos on it. Do YouTube recording and just talk through things. You get used to talking through what you're doing. It's like, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing this. It feels awkward to do, but once you get used to it, it just flows. And so if you can, always be talking. Bajira is a great example. Have you seen that guy? He doesn't take a breath. Yeah. The guy does not take a breath. He always has something to say. He's always addressing something. Just practice. That's part of being a broadcaster. That's part of being in front of the camera and the microphone. Always talk through what you're doing.
They actually
if you don't have anything to talk about
too. When I went to SC, one of the things about screenwriting was there's never any dead space unless there's character interaction, which is also not dead. And if you watch Soda Pop and Herbajir or any of these top tier guys, if you literally count the amount of dead space in seconds, it'll never surpass 4 or 5 seconds. They'll never allow really good space to extenuate.
Yep.
And sometimes they don't even.
Go ahead, Psynaps.
I was going to say that sometimes they don't even directly interact with the chat. They're just doing their own thing. I've seen Soda Pop and not read the chat for a long time, but he's always, he's got something going on.
Out loud, though, or
set yourself up. Yeah. Set yourself up to be streaming content where you allow yourself to be talking through it and doing something, whether you're in a team game or you're recording for YouTube simultaneously. Just be involved.
Shouting at your enemies.
Yeah, streaming.
I love people who get mad at their enemies. I was watching Anowin. Anowin is here. Right. I was watching her play Overwatch the other day, and she was like, "Fuck you, got chip, just going nuts on." And I wanted to. I love that. Just seeing her.
Tyler,
I don't want her to get mad. She was getting getting heated about it, but I was entertained by it. So just go nuts. Just be yourself.
Yeah, if I could touch on that real quick. It is so important that you don't have a lot of dead space in your stream, and that you're just continually talking and entertaining, because like we said, people are coming into that chat and people are going to leave if they don't have something that grabs them immediately as soon as they come in. But I actually want to touch on Top Mad Hat Gaming's question, which is, how do you build an audience when you're literally just starting it? You have nothing on Twitch, right? And this is a really common question, and I actually get it a lot from a lot of people. And the answer is kind of unique. It's not just streaming on Twitch alone. And I want to say Tally, he gave me this advice a long time back. And what it was, if you want to build your brand on Twitch, if you want to get popular on Twitch, a lot of times you should go through other mediums than Twitch. You should, if you have a World of Warcraft stream, post on the WoW forums, post on WoW Reddit. If you
Swifty got big on Warcraft movies. He didn't get big on YouTube or on Twitch. He got big on Warcraft movies.
I was going to say something that you can do too. You got to put yourself out there and get your content out there. And it's hard to get noticed. I know that is a huge struggle for you guys. And I know it's not easy. There's no magic recipe. Doing the things that AJ said you have to do, even then, there's no guarantee, but your chances are going to be much better. And you know what I advise people to do too is be a part of the community, not just go out there. You got to do the forums and stuff too, but be a part of a community that is very rich on Twitch. For example, I got really noticed working with Swifty. That was a big deal. That by itself, getting a shout out by a big streamer is not enough by itself. You'd be surprised how little the result of a simple shout out can be. But more than just a shout out, being involved in that community, actually digging into it. We work together on the Legends of the Arena. People still remember that. That's huge. So if you're a moderator in a bigger stream, if you are, a viewer in another streamer's, let people know that you are interested in streaming and get the attention of other people that are in that community. If you want to, that's the same in any social community, right? Whether you're in business, you're in academia, you're in streaming, the more involved you are, if you're hanging around the right people, they see that you're involved, you're going to get opportunities open up. Be there. Be at the if you want to climb the mountain, you got to be at the mountain.
Yeah, amen, dude.
Absolutely agree.
Amen.
The right way.
Beware.
Backing up real quick because I don't want to get too off topic, but a tester in my own chat was asking me. He was saying about overlays and what is acceptable or what is needed. How can he make himself look better when you go to a stream, top tier streamer? What do you expect? I know a lot of times, like now, especially,
that's a good question.
I think Psynaps has it. He's got that like the follower sub alert above him now. That's really popular. A lot of streamers are using like chat in their stream now. That's like almost mandatory. It seems like because they want that counter interaction. I know Twitch has integrated some history in chat when you watch VOD. So I don't know if it's 100% required anymore. But one thing I will tell you, because he does put, how can I make myself look better? So one way you can always make yourselves look better here, guys, and this is my tip, is especially in like FPS games or games like World of Warcraft, and I think actually even Psynaps could benefit from this tip. If you remove the cursor from your capture, people won't know when you're clicking as often, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the
thought about doing that.
questions I get on my YouTube.
Yeah.
Is they go, "Oh my God, you're so good. How are you targeting your friendly nameplates?" And it's like, "Oh, my cursor is just turned off in OBS. Like, you have no idea that I'm just clicking 90% of the shit I'm doing." And there's a lot of top tier guys who do the same thing. I
notice them. I notice a lot of guys doing that.
Yeah, and it works in a lot of games.
That's a good one. I'm just going to play devil's advocate on this one, and I should. I think if you're going to go pro, I think you need to, that's what the pros are doing. They're hiding their mouse cursor, so you can't really see exactly what they're doing. It's not because they're cheating or anything else. They just probably don't want you to know what they clicked on, so that you don't, so people don't say you suck. But for me, like, I feel like I'm at the level, I'm not competitive. I'm very casual, as you guys know, although I do have my moments where I shit on some nerds, like crazy mode. But I feel like I would be giving into the trolls if I made my cursor just go away one day and then nobody would accuse me of clicking anymore. I feel like they would win. They have won the battle somehow.
I mean,
you saw me click on something. Good fucking job. You're watching.
I use it as an analogy more than like an actual like end all be all.
Sure.
But that's one of those like little tricks that I've seen people do. It's like, oh, you're really clicking a lot of things. You're just hiding your cursor so nobody notices. Good on you, man.
Yeah, those trolls, like somebody always notices. They will always notice everything. I've even had people notice that I clicked on something. I streamed it and I clicked on something and nobody noticed. I was like, sweet, I think I got away with it. And then the next day somebody comes in the stream and is like, hey bro, I was watching your VOD and I saw you click. I was like, oh my God. Oh, are you serious? Come on.
Yeah, I usually use my cursor for when I do the raids to explain positioning and stuff. And it's amazing to literally point so you know that your audience know exactly where you mean, instead of setting a marker and say around this marker here or around this border, that flap in the floor, you need to stand around that. It is much better to have the mouse just point there. There is where you need to stand.
Right.
Oh, these are two good questions. Top Mad Hat asked about clickbaiting in YouTube, and I think we can extrapolate that out into Twitch as well.
Is there clickbaiting on Twitch?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? How do you combat clickbaiting versus non-click? I mean, I know I clickbait, just for an example. I think you absolutely have to clickbait to some extent.
I mean, it's marketing.
Engaging title, yeah. That being
fair enough, but I mean,
a great way to combat clickbaiting is by having higher quality content. So back to your YouTube example, one thing that I do a lot to combat clickbaiting on YouTube is when I make a guide video on YouTube, because I don't release regular content like Psynaps, for example, where I think he's doing like 1 or 2 videos a day or something like that right now. Something godly that I could never ever hope to attain to.
Last month.
But whenever I do release a video, maybe like one a month compared to Synapses, I put all the audio processing to my video. I write out a script. I put closed captioning. That level of content is going to be higher than another video. And you might not get the instant response and views that you're looking for, but you'll get the long-term response and views that you're looking for. So over a year from now, when I look back at the two videos, like my guide video on Disc Priest, for example, versus some other guy who I won't name, where he's just trashing Disc Priest for 20 minutes and he has no coherent guide in the actual video, he might have 1,000 more views than me today or for the next month. But over the next year, his video is going to get lost in the ethernet of the internet, and mine is not. Mine's going to be on front page a year from now.
The good quality stuff does have a longer staying power. Yeah. But let's define clickbait just so people understand what we're talking about, because there's going to be a difference between clickbait and just thumbnails that are designed to get your attention. I think that clickbait, and just fancy thumbnails or thumbnails that are kind of over the top to get your attention, I think it's okay, in my opinion. The time where it goes wrong and it'll work against you is if it's misleading. If your thumbnail or your title says something to get people to come, and then that's not really what they find when they get there, they're going to have a nasty taste in their mouth. And when they leave, they're probably not going to come back. So,
true.
And people are really sensitive on it. Some people are more sensitive than others.
Clickbaiting then, because as a non-partnered streamer, I can tell you a great way to clickbait on Twitch, especially if you're a girl. When you turn on your stream, make sure it's full webcam. Make sure your titties are lined up
for the first 10 minutes or so.
Like honestly, when I turn on my stream, I just make faces at my webcam that I know are going to be the icon for the first hour of my stream, because I know that's how the Twitch algorithm works. And I think every single girl who starts her stream does the exact same thing. That's why they always start it in full webcam. So if you want to clickbait, obviously, work on your title. Like one of mine, for example, is 2.4K experience. Well, I never put the XP part of the experience in there because people will just automatically be terrible readers and assume it's 2.4K current rating. That plus things like webcam and icon and thumbnail utilization. You can absolutely clickbait on Twitter or on Twitch right now and do so.
So I'm going to do that now.
Plus,
I'm going to just leave my webcam on.
Yeah, right. Twitch actually allows you to change your thumbnail on your VOD videos now too. A lot of people
that's cool.
miss that whole changeover. And if you go look at the video section of Twitch, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, the highest viewed videos have customized thumbnails, especially like from podcast or I think like Pite Smite right now.
Have to.
He's the 5th most viewed video at 7,000 views right now on Twitch. That's a custom thumbnail. 100%.
Oh, wow.
On Twitch? I'm not, I don't know if I speak for myself here, but I'm not really a big user of the video feature on Twitch. I know a lot of people are, but what about you guys? Yeah.
Maybe I should be. I mean, it's
bad utilization.
It's a bit slow. You got to kind of pick your battles where you put your time. We only have so much time. There's not very many people that watch VODs. They do. It's good to have them there. You guys should all enable your VOD feature and just have it there, because many people do watch VODs, but not very many. VODs don't get as many hits as YouTube does. If the biggest VOD on Twitch right now is 7,000, we have friends that get 7,000 views a day on their YouTube video, on each YouTube video they upload every single day.
Oh God, we got people get 7,000 views in the first hour.
In the first hour, right? Bajira's videos and
I've got a guy
Swifty's videos and everybody.
DK. He's not even like a top tier streamer or anything. I mean, he's a great guy.
Oh, I know
he's an
Hayes.
awesome content producer. Yeah, but his YouTube just blows up, like 30,000 views on a video for a relatively minor DK in the PvP scene. But he's got that YouTube game pushed out. He couldn't release a VOD to save his life. One reason or one workflow that I have kind of countered with this, because and Twitch has kind of looked into it when they did their playlist. They're trying to optimize their VODs, but it's almost impossible to compete with Google's search engine, right? There's just more people searching through Google, and Google gets filtered on the YouTube results. So you're going to have more views on YouTube. Which also goes
Google
back
owns YouTube too.
No, absolutely.
Google and YouTube. Yep.
Which goes back to AJ's point in that you need to do multiple channels of marketing before to get people to draw into your live stream. That being said, the reason you VOD isn't for people to watch the actual VODs, but it's almost like a rough draft of what you're going to upload to YouTube. And this is what I do. So I main my YouTube videos, right? But then when I'm lacking content on my YouTube, I just go back to my VOD section and I upload some of those VODs to my YouTube so that more people who are subscribed to me on YouTube can experience some of those VODs, because I know they're not watching them on Twitch.
You got to get your name out there too. SEO, because you're getting your title of your your VODs, that goes and you upload that to YouTube, that gets into Google search engines. You got to, add keywords to your titles and VODs. I try to always put my name in the, you can see I have my name in the title. I always put that there because those, go up and they stay. And, put keywords, use SEO. SEO is a big deal.
I can tell you right now, I have multiple advertisers who have in-stream advertising with me. None of my viewers are aware of it at all. 0% awareness. Absolutely.
The problem is
really?
because it's just an in-stream.
But they don't notice or they don't mind it.
They ignore it.
I mean, I've had some comments over 4 years, like, "Man, you drink a whole lot of smart water on stream all the time, Gigasale."
So
and I'm like,
we didn't know.
I just really like this brand. It tastes so refreshing, and I always think I'm being sarcastic, but 300 people watching, they have no clue. They have no clue.
I need to be sponsored by some of the beer companies that I drink because I'll drink some light beer.
I've been trying to argue to people for years. Esports.
I worked in MLG for a very long time. Every single person who had a Monster refrigerator behind them was 100% sponsored. So, I don't know. You need to be a little bit less ignorant about
sponsorships. I like to tell people.
So, if you do a sponsored giveaway or something like that, you may notice sometimes people put in their title "sponsored by Blizzard" or something like that.
SP exclamation.
That's cool.
SP.
Yeah, I like when they do that. I like to know it's a sponsored event. I like to know, and on YouTube too, you have the choice. You don't have to on YouTube. You don't have to say that you're sponsored and you're running ads for somebody. But many YouTubers do make the choice to say, "Look, this is a straight up ad. This is straight up sponsorship. These guys paid me to review this, so here we go." I mean, you don't have to be like that about it. You want to make a good relationship with your sponsors.
Remember too,
you should let the people know that what you're doing. That you're not telling them all this stuff because. If it is out of the goodness of your heart or you really believe in it, you should definitely say that. But if it's just a straight up, "Hey, we paid you a lot of money, will you shout us out?" You should say that too. I mean, I believe in transparency. I think people respect that.
There's a large difference between sponsorship, branding, and brand integration. So keep that in mind too, guys. When you have an annual contract, Tiger Woods, for example, he's not paid by Gatorade to drink Gatorade. He just has a corporate branding with Gatorade in which he really believes in their product and he can use it freely. It just so happens to be that he uses it freely only when he's on camera. Those are the legal issues you guys are talking about. So it's kind of a gray area in how you define how you get your sponsorship. And yeah, if somebody contacts you, like Square Enix, they just contacted me recently about playing Hitman. Whenever I play Hitman, I'm supposed to put SP exclamation on it because technically that's a sponsorship. That's not a brand integration, but it's kind of a gray area. No one's gonna call me out on it and sue me.
It's kind of cool
if I don't put SP at the end of my stream title.
It's Twitch. Nobody's gonna do that. I mean, you definitely do want to prime your audience for it. My advice that I give people on this is be honest but be professional. If you're playing a game which is just garbage and you hate it, don't sit there and shit talk the game for 2 hours. Okay, I know that you want to do that, and I know that you would really love to do that.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think one good way to deal with that situation where you sit with the game and think, "Oh God, man, this is I hate it." Maybe come with some suggestions to let the advertisers know hey, this could be a really cool idea. Maybe you could take a look at this and maybe implement the game. That will also
even if you
integrate the viewers. So hey,
even if you hate the game, you can still engage the videos, and it could be a useful opportunity for the developers of the game or the marketing team to actually fix what the problem is, and actually get some work done. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. I think for the partnered streamers and those of you that are dealing with partnerships, and now there's going to be upcoming MCNs and stuff getting involved. I think it's good to go ahead and think about these kinds of things and look forward a little bit, see how the bigger streamers handle their sponsorships. I can tell you myself that I kind of think some of the bigger streamers are terrible partners. I think that they don't honor their partnerships.
Can we get back to TV co-stars question real quick?
I would.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, sometimes a lot of streamers are, I'll tell you right now, some of them are a little bit finicky about hosting for whatever reason. They probably shouldn't be. For example, I offer my subscribers a host. So if you're a sub, I put my subscribers who are also streamers on my auto host list. And I would be happy to host you guys because that's part of discovery. And I would like, your content to be on my channel whenever I'm not live. I don't always run it every time, but I run it very, very regularly. And then there's also one thing you can do too is the FIAR network, which was developed by our very own Lonalek with our feedback here. Lonalek and I are partners. The FIAR bot is a hosting system because Twitch changed the way hosting works a little bit. It will reset all the hosts whenever you're not live. So FIAR actually lets you customize who you want to host, or you could join the giant host network of everybody that's part of it, and you can get hosts. Like sometimes I'll get hosted by 20 people all at once, or even 30 people. I've gone up to 50 plus hosts because people part of the network will just will just host me, or they'll put me on their list. So check that out. Hosting is very, very strong. And one more thing to say about hosting that I think it was you guys that brought it to my attention was that let's say that you get hosted. Like people say, well, what if there's nobody in the chat? Then the host is useless. That's not true. Because if let's say that everybody who hosts you has 100 followers, just for mathematical sake, you get hosted by 10 people and they each have 100 followers. Well, that's potentially 10 times 100. That's 1,000 potential people that might see that you're being hosted. You see what I mean? So their followers on their feed, when you go to your feed, you can see who's hosting who, and it really works. I've been pushing hosts for the last year, and I think that it's worked amazing.
Kind of going along with the host theme too. I'd like to, FIAR network. FIAR, FIAR, however you pronounce it.
It's a funny name, but it's supposed to be like FIAR.
As opposed to the guy who made it.
That's how you'll remember it.
Always like most people can't even say the programmer's name. Anyways, back to what I was saying. That's that if somebody hosts you, and this is kind of back to Twitch etiquette, and maybe Psynaps can have another panel another day about social media and Twitch etiquette and stuff. But just real quick, that's if somebody hosts you, don't focus so much on the fact of how many people are in that host. In fact, on my Twitch alerts, I turn off the number. I just look at the host and I thank them. And so sometimes I have to thank, automatic hosts from FIAR network, but it's better to thank too many people than not thank one person who did it, purposely. And there are people like Solar Baby. I don't think he'll mind if I use his name as an example. He'll have like a 7 or 11 person stream and he'll host me, and it might be in the middle of a FIAR bomb. But if I don't say thank you to every single person who hosted me, then I might miss that legitimate host, or I might miss somebody like when Trainwreck hosts me. He's got like a 300, 500 viewer stream all the time. It'll say 30, 40 viewers when he hosts me. And that's just because Twitch's backend hasn't fully committed to all those views yet. Like it doesn't count all of them right away. They actually change the algorithm. The numbers, too. They're like really low because they're only counting Twitch. Live concurrent active viewers, by the way. If you ever wanted to know why it's so low, it's because it's concurrent live active
and viewers. They might be hosted as well.
What does that even mean? Is that somebody who
means chat within 2 minutes?
5 minutes, or
no? It means they have to chat within 2 minutes. Yeah, so it's like a really small amount of the views. So you're getting a lot more views than you're actually seeing in those hosts. So don't be like, oh, you only hosted me for 11 viewers. Fuck you, man. It's like that could be like a 100-person host. Don't throw it away so quickly just because the number might be lower.
Dozer Bob says welfare views.
Welfare views, yeah, right? Views.
It's good. Hey, look, Twitch is an amazing community, and the communities, the sub-communities that build within Twitch, like Swifty's community has made a big impact. Wow, Hobbs. You guys know Hobbs? He's a legend in World of Warcraft and plays a lot of Hearthstone now. His community has come over and shown a lot of love. There is really some amazing sub-communities in Twitch. Any chance you get to be a part of those or just to interact with them even for a short while, if you're a streamer, you definitely should.
Real quick though, Woofy UniQT, he said, unfortunately I have to move house. I was trying to get momentum streaming, but unable to commit to long-term streams. So long-term streams unable to commit. Then after my move, internet needs to get hooked up. In the meantime, what should I focus on? Prep, oration, or getting on with the fun, aka the job? So I was in a very similar experience in that I actually, for 2 years, committed to 60 plus hours of streaming. It was the biggest mistake I ever made in streaming. And so the reason I tell the story so often is because people are in a very similar situation where they, just like you, can decide, should I stream more, or I have free time, what should I be doing to prep for my stream? And my answer, having doing the absolute wrong version of this, is to go work on offline media. So YouTube and stuff, things that are always digestible, always on. Twitter and YouTube are the two largest demographics that will increase your live Twitch viewership. So work on your video production offline, and however much time you spend on that offline, take that number by half. That's how long you should budget yourself per week to stream. So if you spend 10 hours offline working on your YouTube videos, you should do at most maximum 5 hours a week of live Twitch streaming. So when you see these guys, these top tier streamers that are like 60 plus hours a week, like that's because they're hiring people to do their editing, do their YouTube, run their social media. Don't think that you're going to be able to do that as one single guy anymore. That's not the market you're coming into. Unfortunately,
it's really hard. So yeah, actually, Giga, this is kind of the first time I know people try to do this, but Giga, that's the first time I've seen somebody actually put a kind of an equation to the time management, and I think it's a good idea to do that because you have to manage your time. There's so much to do, and you might be working in addition and also streaming and doing YouTube. But yeah, if you can't stream because your internet is down and you're moving, use that time. Just to reiterate what Giga said, to build your other social media. That's what I did when I moved from Arizona to New Mexico. Stay at a place that had really bad internet, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought my streaming career was most certainly going to be over because I wasn't able to stream for a whole month. And I've seen other big streamers that when they're gone for a whole month, it's pretty bad news. When they come back, it's a slow start again, and it was for me. But I used that time. I still had my computer. I just didn't have internet. I made videos. I thought about, I planned out what my videos are going to be. I did some captures. I did Twitter, YouTube. I think I started some social media accounts that I'd been meaning to start, but hadn't started yet. There's a lot of stuff you can do. If you're, kind of in between, maybe you just have slow internet or no internet at all, maximize. And then once you get your internet, boom, you're going to be so pumped. You're going to be ready to rock and roll. You're going to start uploading videos and shooting out content. For streamers, a lot of streamers asking, should I do a website? It is a great place to combine all of your social media together, to link your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, your, whatever else. I can't promise you that if you go somewhere else, you won't end up on 4chan. But if you go to my website, I can promise you there's no 4chan links on there. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you found this video useful, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and let me know in the comments what you think. For more information on configuring your stream, be sure to check the description for a link. Good luck and have fun.